Shalom everyone, it's me, Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Hit the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, and don't forget, donate the links below. And check my novels on Amazon. Thank you very much. Okay, someone asked me, Rashid, you're an anthropologist, sociologist, what about the situation in Britain? The riots that happened with the far right. Well, I had several conversations about this with various people. And I decided, you know what, let me make a quick video on YouTube about this. The situation is still ongoing, so the situation may change, it may get worse. We still have to see. Or by the time you are watching this video, you already know how it turned out. But at this moment, while I'm making this video, the situation is still ongoing. Now, what's going on over there? It's quite simple. Britain never got over losing its empire. Culturally. Politically, Britain moved on. Financially, to some extent also. But culturally, that British pride didn't leave the population. Now, the empire disappeared. A Commonwealth came in its place. With the Commonwealth in place, many migrants of the former colonies of Britain moved to Britain. They speak English, at least the majority of them, I hope. And they participate in the British economy and British society. Well, whatever you can call it British economy, but you know where I'm going with this. Problem is, the native Britons have their way, how they want things to be. And those different migrant groups, those different diasporas also have their view of they want things to be. And here's what you need to understand. Everything with more than one head is a monster. Everything with more than one head is a monster. Whether it's a country, or maybe it's a small company, or a restaurant, or a police station, or maybe a dance group. Whatever collective undertaking it is, there needs to be one vision. And based on that vision, you come up with missions. There must be a vision that binds people together. If there is not a vision that binds people together, guess what's going to happen? You are going to have a multitude of people together in a place that don't get along on a basic level. They may get along superficially, but getting along on a deep-root level is not going to work. And what's going to happen then? At some point, it's going to be clashes. People are going to feel misunderstood. For being misunderstood, they're going to feel offended. From offended, they're going to feel grieved. Once they grieve, now you have bitterness. And we have a lot of people from various groups holding bitterness about the situation. You're further removed from a solution. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in Britain is bitter and going at each other's throat. I'm not saying that, absolutely not. That's not the case. Just understand that you have the native Britons and you have the people from diasporas. They need to share that island together. So they have to agree on the values they espouse. And that's where it is. It comes down to the values. You have some of those diasporas, for example, the Pakistani diaspora or diaspora from other what people consider Muslim countries. Their values are more in line with the Quran and with the Prophet Muhammad. So they're a bit more family and community oriented. You also have diasporas from other places, this maybe not from former colonies, but from mainland Europe, who may not have many community values. It's all capitalistic and individualistic. Me, myself, and I. Now those two go together. And if among the native Britons, some may join pagan cults, others want to remain Christian, some are turning atheists, so you have a big collective that cannot agree on its values. A population that can't agree on its values cannot get along and can't get anything done in the long run. The only thing they can, quote-unquote, achieve is to divert attention away or look for a third victim to offload upon. But actually getting something done long term, no population can do that unless they have basic values they agree upon. Now look, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a married couple, John and Jessica. They both love rock music, they listen to hip hop too, they're both working in finance, they both have master degrees, they're both from similar backgrounds, so you can say they're a perfect match. But here's the thing. Jessica values community, so getting along and having good relationships with her extended family and people in the neighborhood. John, on the other hand, he's more about, man, let me pay my rent, I don't bother no one else, they don't bother me, I'm cool. Guess what? What's going to happen when they have 3 days? Jessica wants to do something with the community, to get to know her neighbors better, to get to know people around better, to actually, I would say, be rooted in the community. John's going to think, we can go to Malibu, we can go to Saint-Tropez, we can go to Spain, we can go anywhere just to have some fun. People are around here, we can say hi, bye, leave them alone. So there's going to be conflict over there. Let's say now, for example, the couple witness domestic violence. They see children being harshly abused by the parents. In this case, the father, and the mother just looks the other way. Now, John will so individualistic things, hey, this is a bad situation, I can't agree with this, but you know what, let's stay out of it, because or else we'll bother too. And then his wife will think, hold on a minute, John, how can you be so narcissistic? You were a child too, weren't you? What if you were abused and nobody intervened, whatever? So now you're going to have marriage problems. So let's say both of them have children. Jessica may want the children to develop empathy as quick as possible and to, maybe not become multicultural, but actually to know more about other cultures. While John is more like, if they speak English, English you can get ahead anywhere. Just look people like you, and the rest people, just leave them alone, whatever. Look, in this case, there's going to be conflict how they're going to raise the children, because what if their daughter wants to go to some festival, and the mother thinks, well, that festival has a lot of toxic people over there. The dad agrees, but hey, because the dad is more individualistic, as long as she has fun, she uses a condom, and she doesn't do drugs, hey, we're fine. But the mother thinks, as a woman, if you go to such festivals, make it feel bad look, and it may not help you out in the community later on. So now, both parents have to come with some guidance for the daughter, but they're not on one line. They don't have a common value system they hold on to. Now, human beings have a survival instinct. They don't want to die. They don't want to get physically injured. They don't want to be emotionally humiliated. So if people agree with those things, those are not values. It's just survival. It's just a survival mechanism. So what happens is, in Britain now, I'm not saying that there are no people with deep-rooted values that is shared with one another. I didn't say that. I'm not saying collectively, it's more a collective operating on survival instincts. They're on the same island, they're out of the EU, they have to do it together. If they don't do it together, they're all screwed. Instead of, hey, we're together, we're Britain, we're a union, let's do it together, let's solve the problems together. You see, it's a totally different approach. Because there is no common value system that people endorse and invest in, and everyone chooses their own value system, when things have to be done, it's going to be conflict. And because of survival instinct, people will not act out immediately, but guess what? The tension will build up. And at some point, when any tragedy happens that will give people what they consider an excuse. It is not an excuse, but it's what they consider an excuse. When any tragedy happens that people consider an excuse, they'll go off. The murders that happened, the 7-year-old killing those 3 young girls, those children, it's horrible. Absolutely. Immediately people thought, oh, it's an asylum seeker that entered Britain 2023. There was even a name circulating online. No confirmation. Later, when the police, British police, mentioned that, hey, he was born in Britain. He's British. Hey, he's not associated with Islam whatsoever. People don't want to hear. They went full. They lost it. They lost it and they continued to riot. Well, that thing that happened, where that guy killed those 3 girls, is now the quote-unquote justification in the eyes of a lot of people, with all this built up and painted up bitterness to release all the bitterness. Again, it's not an excuse, but it's what they perceive as an excuse. And that's why, whether collective is small or big, like a big nation, there needs to be a common value system people adhere to. Without that common value system, don't expect things to work. Don't expect people to remain healthy, psychologically, long term. Expect it to go wrong at some point. And I have to say, it's not like nobody saw this coming. For decades, people have been warning about, well, if you have a mass migration, make sure there's integration, because if there's no good integration, you're going to have polarization. With polarization, you're going to have groups standing against one another. Well, long story short, the warning symptoms were there for decades. Now look, it can go either way, either or. People learn to come to a common value system that they can all operate in, or things continue to polarize and you have a civil war in the full. And likely, if it turns into a civil war, it will spread all over Europe also. Because also on mainland Europe, in this case also in the Netherlands, you have people with a lot of bitterness in them, and they can't wait to release that bitterness. And there's a lot of people like that. So once the trigger happens over here in mainland Europe, you're going to see the same happening everywhere. Now, we're not there yet. Maybe by the time you see this video, it has all been resolved. I hope so. But as an anthropologist and sociologist, this is where I see things are going. I hope I'm wrong, but this is where I see things are going. For those of you who are believers, keep praying, decreeing, declaring, and fasting. And stay alert. Especially if you're in Britain now, because tensions like these don't just go away. Even if people come to the agreement to form a basic value system, it may take years to recover from the wounds that have been caused by all these riots. Once the riots happen like this, the social trust is gone, and it may take a while for the social trust to come back. I'm just being real about it. But okay, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.